Are we on? Is this working? Anything happening? Not quite sure if the internet and the technology gods want to play with me this afternoon, but that's part of the joys of running a private practice, isn't it? We had a fellow hardware technician type person in here today helping our printer to determine how to speak to our computers, and so we can do the printing things, because that wasn't fun to have happen on Friday afternoon. And I've just tried to go live and a whole heap of other weird things started happening. So if there's anybody out there listening today, I would love to know that you are watching me live. Please let me know that you're there so that I can adjust the volume or turn myself off or whatever's happening. I seem to have to say this a lot when we go live on Facebook. Hey, before I move on, because I have some educational content today, I just want to ask how your weekend was. Did you actually take time to do things that were replenishing for yourself? Did you look after yourself? Did somebody need to do some work and get caught up on a few things? I wasn't one of those people. I didn't walk into my office again over the weekend. I didn't do anything in my house above the office. In fact, I ran a whole heap of errands on Saturday, caught up with a lovely friend for lunch on Saturday, and then I went into Joe needs to incubate mode. Quite a lot of resting then occurred. Some of it wasn't voluntary. I didn't enjoy the amount of rest that my body needed, but it is what it is. But I had this amazing thing happen on Friday night. I had the privilege of speaking to a room full of men. Oh, Beck, thank you, you're there, about emotional intelligence and about emotional intelligence in practice, and it was really cool. So these gentlemen had paid to come along and participate in this workshop with me. But there was this moment afterwards where, as a part of myself, if you've ever heard me speak, you know that there's a slide where I go, well, who am I and what have I done and why am I even somebody worth listening to? And I talk about my background as a rehabilitation counsellor and what that means to me and some of the exciting things that we've done in helping people return to work following injury and illness. And there was this young man there who came up to me afterwards who was quite emotional. And to be fair, my first thought was, oh my gosh, I've broken him talking about emotional intelligence with men. But then he still wanted to talk to me, so I'm assuming it wasn't going to be him. And then, to be frank, I was like, oh, do I have time for this? It's 9:30 at night. I'm a bit tired. But we all have those thoughts. However, he had sat there for the 90-minute workshop, and what he had focused on was all that stuff I'd said about helping people return to work. And as it turns out, he's got a family member who had experienced a really significant, horrible work-related injury. Yuck. And as a family, they were living through the horror of this with this family member. And it just felt like one of those divine appointments where I was able to speak into his situation and give this family some hope and help them understand that what they're going through is normal, normalize the experience for them. And ask them to get in touch with me in about a month because I won't be here and I don't want to start things with somebody and then not be around. So that was pretty powerful. But that's not what I wanted to share with you today. I actually have a really serious question I want to ask you, and that is, how do you make decisions? I've been researching this and thinking about this, about my own decision-making framework or my own method of decision-making. When in the past 6 weeks, I have been examining what it is I need to do to get this business to a point where I can take 4 weeks out of it. So a part of that for me has been the requirement to learn how I make decisions, because I am fast and I prefer convenience. If you're going to make my life easier, pretty much you've sold me. But I needed to, deconstruct my decision-making process, because you may not be aware of this, but most of the decisions we make, and where I got this information from is all based in neuroscience, and I'm not going to put up references today because there's just too many of them and it'll hurt my brain. But most of the decisions we think we're making logically, we're actually making unconsciously. Most of us have a habitual way that we make decisions. So for me, I know if it's convenient, chances are I'll decide yes. If you give me too many choices and I get overwhelmed, I just won't decide which is a no. But then there are lots of people who talk to me about the need for logic. They need to go away, think about it, and make a logical decision. I went, really? Seriously? Do people do that? Well, no, we're kind of fooling ourselves. We might, with really big decisions, like if you're going to buy this house or that house, chances are you've got really strict criteria, usually lending criteria, that allow you to have to make a very black and white logical decision-making process. That's like, to get to this outcome, I need to follow all of these steps. But generally speaking, yes, Beck, too many choices hurts my brain too. Most of us have a habitual way that we make decisions. So every time a new email pops up in your inbox, you're making a decision about what to do with that information. Every time somebody that you like puts out a new offer for a new product or service or opportunity, you're already making decisions quickly without even reading the fine print. This is why most of us construct our sales page the way we do, for people who make decisions really quickly at the top, people who think they need all the information in the middle, people who need all the reassurance, people who then want to read it all again, and then we have all the costing and pricing stuff at the bottom. It's kind of done quite deliberately, making sure that we're looking after all of the ways that people think they make decisions. But what was really interesting for me today is that I make most of my decisions based around fear. Fear of missing out, fear of not being good enough, fear of missing out, fear of not being good enough, fear of missing out. They were the two that kept coming up for me all the time. And then there's also this group of people, I'm not one of them, who fear that if I do this thing, have I got it in me to do what it takes? So it's different to this am I good enough situation where it's like I'm actually terrified of my own power and being able to complete that. But all of this stuff is running through our minds and our subconscious through the fear parts of our brain, which are, prefrontal cortex gets involved, and then the bit down the middle gets involved, and then the amygdala gets involved, and it's a whole big mess. So here we are, think we're being logical when really not. We're just reacting out of habit and reacting out of fear. So like I just explained to you, for me, I make decisions habitually out of, will this make my life easier? That is essentially the criteria that I have in decision making. So if somebody is offering me an event or a product or a service, I'm not interested in the experience or who else is going to be there. I just want to, it's going to make my life easier. And if it is, and if I believe it will, even if it's something I have to learn or get over, that's going to make my life easier, then I will find a way to find the money to make that work. I know that my husband he needs to feel safe to make a decision. So he needs the information, and he needs to put the information in some sort of category and make sure all the bits line up and that there's no lack of integrity and everything is consistent. I haven't got the energy for that. He's awesome. He makes really wise decisions. I trust him implicitly around things that matter to me, because he's just better at it than I am. Then there are other people who are really focused on, I need to belong. What is everyone else going to be doing? Who else is going to be there? And will I form a part of this group? And that is such a powerful motivator for decision making, especially for clinicians, because we don't do things on our own. We're always doing things with other people. Like, we're part of a treatment team, we've got clients involved, we've got families involved, we've got other sister relationship systems involved. It's rare that we are completely isolated when we're doing things. And then there's this fun group of people who just want to know what else is going to happen. Yeah, I'll buy that thing, I'll do that thing, I'll come to that thing. But what else are we doing? What else do we get? They love and thrive on variety. They look a little bit like flibbity gibbets. No judgment there. We need you. We need your passion and your enthusiasm. But I challenge us all today to have a look at what our habitual decision-making processes are. What is it that we do habitually all the time when it comes to decisions? Is it about, I'm going to miss out? Who else is going to do this? Am I going to look bad? Is this going to ruin my reputation? Is this going to add to my reputation? Is this something I could do now, or should I do it later? Is this something that, and then how do you quantify whether or not you're ready to make the decision? It's all quite fascinating, really. But my challenge for you today is to start thinking about how you make decisions, because they matter. The decisions that we make matter. And I think that we've got to get beyond just being unmindful, ill-mindful, lacking in mindfulness, and just doing things, reacting to urgency, reacting to whatever it is that's coming up for us. And we need to plan our success around what our criteria is, which means that we'll have better decision-making models available to us. I can't wait to share with you the types of things I've learned that I've needed to get over myself to get this business ready for me to be out of it for 4 weeks. But I can assure you, I spend way too much time worrying about things and not enough time actioning things. And some of you are going to find that terrifying because you know how fast I am at making decisions and taking lots of information. But that's okay. I need to help people come with me on that journey, not run way ahead. So I'd be curious to know if anybody's brave enough to post below, what is it that helps you make a decision? What is it that helps you? It doesn't. There's no judgment here. If it's a good thing, a bad thing, I just don't want us to go into shoulds, oughts, or must-haves. We need to apprehend those things, and let's just start a discussion around how we're making decisions so that we can work out whether it serves us. Essentially, that's what we're trying to do here. So this week is a big week for me. I've got 2 really big days coming up. I am delivering 6 hours of training to another rehabilitation agency tomorrow on doing good rehab. How cool is that? Excuse me. And then Wednesday, I've got some cool coaching calls, but then it's the Purple Co 10-year anniversary. And I've kind of been holding my breath for the last month waiting for this event to occur. So it's here, it's arrived. We're going to be celebrating all things Purple Co. And after Wednesday, I have no clue what's happening because I really can't think beyond that at the moment. So looking forward to hearing what you have to say about how you make decisions and what goes on for you. Beck, you look at the pros and cons, then you trust your gut, which is your intuition. Yeah, I think we can do that. So Beck, you've jumped in over the last 12 months and done things that you've never done before, and taken a chance with people that you haven't taken a chance with before. So it works. It allows you to start thinking, what is it about the way I make decisions that isn't serving me, and what decisions can I make differently? It's really cool. Anywho, I am about to go and work out what I need for the next couple of days because I'm actually going to be living out of a suitcase. So until possibly Thursday, maybe tomorrow, hope your week is awesome. Looking forward to connecting with you again, but I don't know if I'm going to make it over the next couple of days. We'll see. Until then, until I'm back, go be your awesome self.